So we're going to finish up part 9. There's a small part left, and we're going to jump into part 10, okay, or action 10. So the rest of part 9 or action 9 includes the letter response. You're probably going to get some sort of generic email or letter from the same coach that'll look something like the message below, right? Essentially saying, "Dear Kyle, thank you for your interest in our program here at Sinai Sports University. Unfortunately, due to NCAA rules, we're not allowed to contact you until your junior year of high school." Now, this varies on the school that you're contacting, okay? Because it depends on the division. Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, they all have slightly different rules. So Division 1 has a different contact rule than 2. 2 has a different contact rule than 3. So those are things you're going to be mindful of and understand, okay? So it just depends on the level or the division of the school that you're reaching out to. So getting a letter like that is very typical because that's a coach that is going to be following the rules, okay? But because you've done this, you're going to leave an imprint in that coach's memory about you, okay? You're going to give yourself a unique advantage over other recruits because 1, they haven't even started the process yet, and 2, they haven't even contacted yet. And if they do, they're more than likely going to send an email, okay? Remember that a friend of mine in college, a college coach, gets at the NAIA level, gets 30 emails a day. Imagine top Division 1 or Division 2 or even Division 3 universities. Okay? So by doing this, you've given yourself a big advantage. Now they are aware of who you are. Okay? Because the other side of the coin is if you don't make contact, coaches don't know who you are, so they're not going to recruit you. Now let's get into action step 10. This is the follow-up. Okay? After you sent your letter, you can wait a couple days. Okay? This next step is going to be the most difficult part in this process because I'm going to ask you to call a coach, call the college coach. Now, what I would recommend doing is call a coach on one of your more secure lists, right? One that you're not so afraid to lose, especially if it's your first time. Okay, and I just gave you that quote in the last video about comfortability, right? If you're uncomfortable, that means you're pushing yourself to the next level, right? I want you to push yourself to be better, and this is the way you're going to do this, okay? If you follow these steps and you send that letter and you follow up with a phone call, you are going to be so far ahead of all other potential student athletes, it's going to be insane. Because, again, speaking to some of my colleagues in this business, in this industry, they don't get people to send them letters and they hardly get phone calls. So imagine you send them a letter and then you follow up with a phone call. That's going to put you in really good standing. Okay, here's a quick checklist I want you to follow before you make the call, right? Make sure you have all your research done and all the prior information readily available. So maybe you have that spreadsheet open before you call. You need to have all those details locked and ready to go. Obviously, make sure you have the correct phone number and know who you're calling. If you're calling the head coach, don't give the assistant's name when you say, "Hey, Coach John," and his name's actually Alex, right? Those are important details. Obviously, having this information is going to make you feel confident, and this is a great opportunity for you because this is a first impression outside of a letter. This is the first time you're making vocal contact, okay? So make sure that you do some practice conversations because this will help you be ready for when you make the real deal. And again, I would recommend going and doing the first couple calls with schools that are in your secure list. So if you make mistakes, you're not afraid if you lose them on your list. Okay? How to prepare for a phone call. Practice, practice, and practice. Do run or mock phone calls with your mom or dad, your best friend, your aunt, your uncle, your grandma, your grandpa, or maybe somebody that's in it already. Maybe it's a friend of yours that plays college. Okay? I would even practice over the phone. Don't just do it face to face. Go in separate rooms and make that call happen because that's the kind of pressure you're going to be feeling. Okay? And please reference the phone scripts which you're going to get in a moment to make sure that you have the general questions that you're probably going to receive or how to run that conversation. Okay? Here's a couple do's when you have these conversations. right? Make sure when you start the conversation, you say, "Hi, Coach Alex." "Hi, Coach," whatever the individual's name is, okay? Make sure you call the correct number. If they don't answer, make sure you leave a voicemail because depending on the level of the university, they might not be able to call you back, okay? Be confident and ask questions. This will show interest, right? For example, ask a question like, if they're in season, you can say, "How do you think you're going to prepare for the game this coming weekend?" Or, "How did you feel you did in your last game against Warner College?" Right? And that way they're seeing that you're paying attention to what they're doing. Okay? Make sure you always answer with "yes, coach" or "no, coach." And then make sure you ask questions about the university, in particular like the academic side. Okay? And obviously I would also ask what are his goals for the program, and then try and discuss how maybe you can help, or you could see how you could fit into their program, right? Discuss your team and how your season is going. Okay? You can even ask them who their favorite pro team is, their favorite player, and then you can get a little more insight into their personal feelings. And again, the more practice you have, the better. Phone call don'ts. Do not sound arrogant or brag about yourself. Okay? Don't talk about how great you are. Show them how great you are. Because this is a team sport, everybody attacks and defends together. At this moment, don't bring up scholarships. This will happen later. And when they ask you a question, pause for a second. Give yourself a moment to think. Okay? And then do not lie. Always tell the truth. And don't talk bad about other coaches, individuals, or players. That's not going to look good on you. Okay? And then here's your checklist, which we're going to get into the next video.